What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA offseason video. In this video, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers offseason and what they've managed to do in the post-LeBron era, the first offseason of the post-LeBron era, and going into the first season, next season, of the Luka era. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. Now, I didn't plan to do back-to-back Los Angeles videos. We did the Clippers yesterday. We talked about the Clippers. I was going to make a WNBA video today, but then I realized some of the scheduling for some of the stuff wasn't going to work out. So here we are talking about the Lakers. Completely unplanned to compare the two back-to-back against each other. But both these teams feel like they're in a weird spot. And when a lot of these moves for the Lakers initially happened, when we went through the transaction report essentially for almost every team, and we talked about the Lakers a lot because the Lakers had a lot of moves that day, I was very optimistic about the team and who they were bringing in and all that stuff. And then as I got to sit here and think and like get my gears turning in my head and listen to some other people talk about the Lakers' moves, it does make me quite worried because now, as we are fully in the Luka era in Los Angeles, we have to start looking forward to competing now and competing for the future. And to look at some of these moves with that in mind and how would I say this, handcuffed they are um, with their draft picks, with some of their contracts that they have on their books still, it's becoming increasingly unlikely that this is a championship core, we'll put it that way. I mean, on paper, let's just run through some of these deals, right? You got Con Sexton, who signed with the team. They acquired Jaden Hardy. They signed Quentin Grimes, and they signed Sandro Mamu, basically. And those are your offseason pickup, and they signed Con Sexton. Those are your offseason acquisitions, so to speak. I like Con Sexton on this team. He's basically going to do the Marcus Smart role from last season, which I think obviously Con's a bunch a bit younger, maybe a bit more intense than Marcus Smart, but probably around the same level. Quentin Grimes, I like. He did not have the season he wanted to have last season with the Sixers. He's still a really great shooter, and I believe, now that I'm looking at this, they played together in Dallas, right? Luka and Quentin Grimes. I believe their time did overlap, so there's a familiar face there. Um, Also, Jaden Hardy, who I really like, who I think is very underrated. He was in Washington last year. He was kind of in purgatory, so you didn't really hear much about him, but I did like him in his time with the Mavericks. I don't know if him and Luka's time overlapped. I think it maybe for like half a season, maybe overlap. So there's another familiar face there. You bring in Sandro, who I have no feelings about really. He was on the Toronto Raptors last year. I felt like he was used in a very weird way in Toronto, especially in the playoffs because he had to play, but they didn't really want to play him that much because he's a bit of a smaller, 4-ish, 5-ish player. Um, that's going to be interesting to see. They're basically, from what I've heard, they're basically hoping Sandro can do a Rui sort of impersonation. I don't know if that's in Sandro's game. And then the biggest piece, and the one that, you know, Lakers fans have been hunting this player for a couple years now, and the Lakers front office has been locked in on this player for a long time, for the last, like 2-3 seasons. Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler was injured last season. He injured his shoulder. I believe he tore his rotator cuff, or he had some injury for his shoulder that put him out the whole season. Um, I have lots of hope for Walker Kessler. I have lots of hope that he could be at his best a Rudy Gobert. We'll put it that way. Rudy Gobert is four-time defensive player of the year, 3-time? My hope is that he can be somewhere near that. He's only 25. He's going to hit his prime on this next contract because the next contract was a sign and trade for him, basically. So his next contract ends it's confirming to be ended at the end of the 2020-2029 season, and they has a player option for 29-2030. So he's on this team for 3 years, starting next season. He's going to be in his prime. You hope he can stay healthy, and you hope he, I want to say, vibes well with Luka because Luka can make any center look good. You just hope he does it on the defensive end. That's what I want Walker Kessler to do. I could care less about the offense. The offense is going to be what it's going to be. Get offensive rebounds and do all that stuff. When I look at this core, right, and a lot of these contracts, Sandro, Quinton, Walker Kessler, they run until that 2029 season, and then all of them have player options in 2029, 2030. Colin Sexton is only here for 2 years. At the end of the 27-28 season, he could potentially be gone. And then Jalen Hardy has a team option for 27-28, and he could potentially be gone even before that at the end of this season if he doesn't play well. When I look at this group of guys, right, this is the big haul you brought in to help Luka. Post LeBron, we are in the Luka era. Luka's one of my favorite players. I would say he's probably my second or third favorite player in the league. I look at this group, and initially I was like, okay, I can see it. And then you really start diving into it. It's like, is Quentin Grimes a championship player? You're like, I don't know. He really needs to find that shot again. It's like, is Sandro really worth that much money? I don't know. I like Jalen Hardy, but like, I feel like Jaden Hardy and Colin Sexton kind of like negate each other at some point, but I guess you're not going to play them together. You're going to either play one or the other with Luka or Austin, so there's always a defensive player on the court with them when they aren't playing together. And then you look at Austin Reeves, who's also here, who he signed a mega deal, one of the biggest, I think the biggest or one of the biggest deals for an undrafted rookie to all star-ish level player. He signed the biggest deal in NBA history in that category. Do I rely on Luka and Austin Reeves as my backcourt to win a championship when they are both? I want to say I've defended Luka so much on defense. The one thing I do hate about Luka, he's a complainer. He loves to complain. He just yaps and yaps and yaps at the refs, and I feel like it's something that at this point just is never going to go away, and he's just going to be known as that. And he gets a lot of technicals, especially last season. He had a lot of technicals. And I look at Austin Reeves, who I want to say, I don't want to say he's necessarily awful on defense, but yeah, he's awful on defense. He just gets picked on relentlessly, and he was injured last season as well. He came back in the playoffs, didn't look great. He had like one or two games against Oklahoma, right, where he had like 20 or 30 plus points. He looked okay, but he was getting picked on defense every time, and I kind of wonder, and everybody wonders, is this backcourt is this backcourt's offensive potential going to outweigh its defensive um, woes? Because in the playoffs, they're gonna pick on Luka, they're gonna pick on Austin Reeves. Teams are gonna have their pick of the litter of who they want to pick on defensively. And if these guys are your two starters, how is that going to look? How is JJ Redick going to manipulate the Lakers defense to try to hide two players? It's very easy to hide a bad defensive player, just a singular one in the NBA. It's very easy. It's hard to do two. It's very hard to do two. And I I struggle to think about a matchup that would favor them to get to a Western Conference Finals. We can pull up the let me pull up the standings from last season, and we'll see where maybe the Lakers could get off easy in a playoff matchup. Um, they're not going to get off easy versus Oklahoma. Not going to get off easy versus San Antonio. Maybe Denver. Maybe they could get off easy on Denver. You're not going to get off easy versus Minnesota. If the Lakers have to play Minnesota, LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards versus Luka and Austin Reeves. I'm sorry, Luka. I am taking the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bro, I could just see Luka trying to guard LaMelo, and it's not going to go well. um, the Rockets, maybe you get away with the Rockets, but the Rockets have Marcus Smart now. Even Marcus Smart could cook um, Luka or Austin Reeves. And then they also have a very athletic guy in Ahmed Thompson, and they're getting Fred VanVleet back, and we have to see what Freddie is. But I don't like that matchup in particular either. In Portland, Ja and Dame, don't love that. Phoenix, Devin Booker, and Jalen Green in the backcourt versus Luka and Austin Reeves. Don't love that either. Um, Clippers, TBD. The roster isn't finalized yet. Also, I made a couple comments about uh, Niederhauser and the Clippers. I didn't realize he was still injured. I saw him I saw a clip of him at Clippers practice the other day or yesterday from a couple days ago, and he's in a boot still. What's that about? So some of that Clipper stuff that I said, not completely accurate, so I apologize for that. The Warriors are probably on the same level as the Lakers at this point. Um, and then we get into the bottom of the West, and I'm not concerned about that. But there's a lot of matchups in the West that do not favor um, the Los Angeles Lakers from a backcourt perspective. Um, and now we move on from their recent signings. We'll get back to them in a second because we're going to talk about all this in the totality. Let's talk about who's still on the roster here. Talk about who's still on the roster here. Obviously, Luka's here. Jake LaRavia's still here. Jake LaRavia had a monster start to the season last season, and then he fizzled out. We'll see if he's actually serviceable. Dalton Connect's still here. I wish they would get rid of Dalton Connect. I wish they would package Jared Vanderbilt and Dalton Connect together and try to just get off that contract, get off those contracts. Um, but the Lakers can't do that because they don't own their own draft pick. They have a couple swaps, but they don't outright have their own draft pick till 2034. So I'm not completely sure they can even get off these deals. I think they have to wait for them to expire, which isn't great. So you're going to lose these players for nothing. Great. Another Rob Palenka big brain move. You have Bronny James, you have Abdul Thero, and you have a bunch of two-way guys. And then you have the rookie, Cameron Carr, 22 years old. He's a shooting guard. How tall is this? How tall is this gentleman here? Cam Carr is 6'5", so he's a bit on the small-ish side. I mean, how tall is Luka? Luka's like six, 6'7", 6'7", um, something like that. Cam Carr has been okay enough in summer league. They played like their little was it South Bay or something classic where the Lakers play against like the Clippers and the Warriors and the Spurs or something. Like they have their little mini summer league and then they go off to the actual Vegas summer league. He played okay enough. I am going to read off his college stats here. I don't think his college stats are going to be too indicative of his role in the NBA, but I think it's important to tell you guys what this guy was able to do in college. He played for Baylor last season. He played at Tennessee before that. He was 2025 2026 um, all Big 12, so that's like basically all NBA just for the conference. He was an 18-point scorer. This was his breakout season, by the way. Every season before this was uh, not great, and then he was injured the year prior at Tennessee. So this is his first season really playing, really breakout season. 18 points per game, uh, almost one steal, one block, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Um, let's see, 37% from three. That's a huge jump from where he was um, his first year when he was that probably like 18 or 19 years old. It's a huge jump. His 2 point percentage is up, which was great. His free throw percentage at a career high when he was in college. His minutes were 33 minutes, and his field goal percentage was 49. So he had a pretty okay college career. Um, like I said, I like the idea of Rob Palenka putting sort of these defenders and sort of these hard nosed guys around Luka and Austin Reeves because you can play in combination with either one of them. Cam Carr can play with Luka. Uh, Cam Carr can play with Austin Reeves, and et cetera, as we go through Colin Sexton, Jaden Hardy, and Quentin Grimes here. They can all play with Luka or Austin Reeves, who are your guys. These are your franchise cornerstones, and a lot of them can't space the floor, like I detailed. Quentin Grimes, he needs to. I mean, we can look up Grimes here. Uh, Quentin Grimes, from his time in he's been in the league. Oh my God, how long has he been in the league? 5 years. Oh my, he's been on so many teams in 5 years. Jeez, he's been on so many teams. Wow, I did not realize how many teams he was on. Let's go for his career here. Well, actually, no. I want to tell you what he did the past couple years because it wasn't great, but we can hope the Lakers can rehabilitate him. Um, Last season, he was a 33% three-point shooter. That's down from his past couple years where he was or past couple of stops at different teams. He's been on multiple different teams in multiple different years. So at some of his stops, he was a 38, a 39, a 37% shooter, a 36. And he's always been above at least 35. There's only 1 year in here where he shot below 35. So you hope he can regain some of that momentum that he had and he can become a really knockdown shooter because that's what this team needs. And he's also pretty okay defensively. I don't think he's phenomenal, but he's just okay enough. Um, Jaden Hardy, like I said, that's a sneaky pickup for me. I would watch that one. I hope JJ Redick, Coach Redick, plays him a little bit just to see what he has left in him. You know, if he can recapture some of that stuff that he did in uh, Dallas. You also have Colin Sexton, who's been around the block now. He's what you would consider a vet, and in particular, I like Colin Sexton with Austin Reeves. I feel like that's a good combination of talent right there when Luka's not on the floor. I feel like a lot of these moves are for Luka to play the one and have the other players play the two. Quentin Grimes, Jaden Hardy, Cam Carr to play off Luka. And then obviously you have the times where Austin Reeves is going to be the two or the one where he can play with Quentin Grimes, Cam Carr, or Colin Sexton as well. I don't know which combination of those I like more. I just know I like Colin Sexton and Austin Reeves. I feel like that's a good vibe right there. Um, moving on to moving back to their their center depth essentially. It's Walker Kessler, Sandro, maybe a little bit of Jared Vanderbilt, and that's it. They have no other center options. They got rid of DeAndre, and he went to Washington. We'll see if Washington keeps him. Um, like I said, Sandro's is kind of a wild card here. I don't know if he was. I think he was used appropriately enough in Toronto, but some of the matchups that are hardest don't favor him. And when you're gonna get, and inevitably, when Walker Kessler is gonna get in foul trouble, because Walker Kessler is gonna be asked to play a lot of minutes, you start to wonder what's gonna happen. uh, Jared Vanderbilt's value has tanked. I don't know what he does anymore. He doesn't hit threes. He doesn't play a lot of great defense anymore. He's a negative asset at 27 years old. Do I trust him as my third string center? Not really. Like to be completely honest, not really. And I don't know how you improve your backup five. You're really banking on Sandro to be have a breakout year, like a really good year, trying to think of something in comparison, like a a Mo Wagner sort of role to in Orlando. He was in Orlando, a Mo Wagner role to Wendell Carter being Walker Kessler. You're hoping there's that dynamic where there isn't too much of a drop off. There might be some world in which that works. I feel like they're both run, jump, and dunk centers. Sandro can hit a three. I think I saw him hit a couple threes, maybe. Um, you just hope that Luka has the effect that a lot of great point guards have had of the past, or a lot of great distributors have had in the past, where look at guys like Chris Paul, James Harden, LeBron James, um, that turn centers into like almost borderline All NBA. They turn any center into a borderline All NBA player. Um, you just hope Luka can continue that, and you hope Austin Reeves, who's an underrated passer, also gets involved in this and um, can help elevate these big guys. I'm not worried about, to be honest, individually, I'm not worried about any of these guys. I know what Walker Kessler is. I know what Colin Sexton is. I know what Quentin Grimes can be. We don't know what Cam Carr is because he's a rookie. We know what Jalen Hardy can be at his best moments. Um, After that, I mean, you got Bronny James. He's still on the team. We'll see if he follows his dad, uh, LeBron James Senior, to that sounds crazy to say. LeBron James Senior. That sounds crazy to say. Um, because Bronny's actually is his government is LeBron James Jr., which is funny. The rest of these guys, I don't know what I'm getting from them. So I guess in some aspects, I'm talking myself into this team again, but I know it's gonna be a rocky road at some point. Um, you don't know what you're gonna get from some of these guys, and there is some stability in the new guys you're bringing in. And if I trust any coach to bring the best out of somebody who actually like wants it, it's JJ Redick. JJ Redick was infuriated with DeAndre in last year because he didn't want it. I feel like all these guys in front of you in this picture want it. They all want it, and I think that's a very positive thing for this team because um, Luka wants it, Austin Reeves wants it, and to a certain extent, I mean, like Jake LaRavia wants it. I mean, like Bronny James wants it. I think those are the last guys who really like want it. Who I'm like almost positive they want it. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to add to this. I just I just hope. I'm happy that LeBron James has left the Lakers. I want to make that very clear because I can root for Luka like fully. I'm not a LeBron James fan. I've never been a LeBron James fan. I'm a Luka fan though, and it was sort of mixed bag for me to be like, oh, I'm rooting for the Lakers because Luka's on there, but I also have to kind of root for LeBron. I'm not saying I hate LeBron, but it's just tough for me in that situation. And now for this team to be fully Luka's team, I can kind of actually root for the Lakers a little bit, which is weird for me to say, but I want them to do well, and I don't know if this is a great first off season. This might be Rob Palenka's last off season as the GM. We'll see how it goes because Rob Palenka is going to be on the hot seat because the Lakers got new team ownership. The guy who owns the Dodgers owns the Lakers now. He's bringing in a lot of like big brain glasses and suits guys to help right the ship of what the Lakers were heading towards, and now they're fully in that new direction. And we'll see what happens with Rob Palenka. Um, and we'll see what happens with Luca because I didn't mention this. Luca, it's coming up. Next season, 2027-2028 is his last year. He's guaranteed to be on the team essentially. Halfway through that season, if he wants to get traded, like in that offseason, he can get traded. Because 2028, 2029, that's a player option for $57 million. He could tell the Lakers, I'm not re signing unless you trade me. And then I'll sign the contract with a new team, or I'll pick up the player option with the new team. So it's coming up, and it's kind of dangerous to think if you're the Lakers, like how committed is Luka to LA, you know? And if the team isn't performing well, and you've whiffed off this season, you've whiffed on this season, and you're gonna whiff on the next one. There is some money opening up. I mean, you got Jake LaRavia off the books next year. Um, you got maybe Jared Vanderbilt if he opts out. I don't think he's opting out. There's a long term commitment here from everybody except Luca, and that's a dangerous game to play. I hope the Lakers do well. I like Luca in a Lakers jersey. I loved him in a Mavs jersey. I mean, I have his Mavs jersey hanging up on my wall right there. But I do like him in a Lakers jersey, and I hope that this works out. I hope they're at least competitive. I don't know in the West because the West is just such a mixed bag, and you're trusting two guys who maybe haven't been the healthiest in Luca and Austin Reeves to play a lot of games, and you know, Coach JJ Redick's going to have to manage that, and they're going to have to try to come out really strong next season, and maybe towards the end of the season rest. That sounds very optimistic to say, even assuming they're going to be in the playoffs in a guaranteed playoff spot. But throughout the regular season, if Luca and Austin Reeves are fully healthy with this group of guys, I believe they can be a maybe like top six team, top five team, maybe five, the fifth best team in the West. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. Like I said, I didn't plan to make two Los Angeles based videos, but here we are tomorrow. However, you will get a WNBA video if you're interested in that. If you are not interested in that, then you can check out the video on the left. The end screen should be playing right now. Check out that video. Check out the playlist on the right. It's probably Hot Topics or something else. Check out one of my other trade videos, the John Morant one, the Giannis one, the LaMelo Ball one. It's all in that playlist right there. Click it. If you click my little icon right in the middle of the screen, a little subscribe will pop up, and you can subscribe with ease. Like and comment as well, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.